Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Wednesday, December the 3rd, 2025. And just forgive me, I'm recording this episode on my phone. I took my camera to the pub yesterday, and I normally do my videos for the pub and all that on that one as well. And I've left it in the office. So anyway, I'll have to make do with this one. And hopefully the arm doesn't sort of give out as we go. Just forgive me if I change hands a few times. So beautiful day today, by the way. I know I always seem to start the episodes these days with a weather report, but it's going to be 28 degrees today, so it's about time. And it's quite warm at this time in the morning. I've been finally able to get rid of the jacket or the vest or whatever it is. Hopefully soon the jumper comes off as well, or the hoodie. On this day, what I'll firstly do on this day is make sure this little bugger's here. Yep, we're just passing a house full of dogs at the moment, and there he is there. I can't actually show him today because I can't sort of swing between front and back on a phone while I'm recording. So let's start with on this day. Now, back in 1960, Gene Former and Sugar Ray Robinson fought for the third time for the World Middleweight Championship. On this occasion, Gene Former would retain the World Middleweight title, 160-pound title, with a draw over Sugar Ray Robinson. In most people's eyes, the greatest fighter of all time. And if you look at his record, I haven't got it on hand, so I don't know the exact record, but lost numerous times and still regarded as the best fighter, pound for pound, of all time. So just a little bit of a reminder, it's not all about records. And I saw an article about Rocky Marciano the other day. I might actually save that for another day, but the argument's going back and forth about his standard, or his standing in the world heavyweight rankings just based on his record, which I just don't like. And I don't care who they are. I know I always tend to have a bit of a crack at Rocky, but he's my sort of always go-to person, I suppose. But just an example, don't get caught up in records. Records mean nothing. The numbers on the record, I mean. It's the wins and performances and legacy type of fights that are in or on those records that matter, not the numbers. Okay, so again, I might, when I'm feeling a little bit more gamer and willing to take on all the Rocky Marciano fans out there, I might dissect it a little bit more. But that's what happened on this day in 1960. In 1982, we had big card in New Orleans at the Superdome. We had, or on the undercard, firstly was Wilfredo Gomez knocking out Lupe Pintor. I think that might have been in the 8th round from memory. I don't have the exact round on me. I just remember seeing it. That was for, I think, the 122-pound WBC world title. And on the main, or the main event on that card, Thomas Hitman Hearns became a 2-division world champion by defeating Wilfredo Benitez by 15-round decision to take the WBC 154-pound title. And I think it was only yesterday, was it, that we had Wilfred Benitez losing to Sugar Ray Leonard on this day. I think it was December the 2nd. Either that or it was the day before. So Wilfred Benitez in a couple of big fights in the last couple of days in previous years. And again, I've always said that I think he's probably the best Puerto Rican fighter we've had, and definitely maybe that unofficial member of the 5 Kings instead of the 4 Kings. So that's what happened on this day. Now, yesterday, or in the last 24 hours, been a bit happening. As I suppose we have these what was it, the TV show World's Dumbest Criminals. Well, I think is it now we've got the World's Dumbest Fighters. I've got 3 examples today. I won't say dumb, but just not so bright. One of them, Amir, I'll get to if I get time. If not, I'll save that for another. Actually, I'll start with him. Get him out the road. Amir Khan said in a interview the other day that in his prime he would have beaten Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. They were both scared of him. They both avoided him. Blah 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 blah. This is a guy that has been knocked out numerous times, quit a couple of times, and just, in my opinion, never really measured up to all the hype in those really big fights against the absolute stars. Never really delivered, always had a great excuse, always talked it up afterwards about how good a fighter he was, but never really delivered in the ring, in my opinion. He made a few defences of the titles that he won against sort of inferior opposition, I think, while not really A-grade challengers or contenders, but really struggled when he moved up against the elite fighters. But to say that, I think is probably the first example of one of the world's not so bright fighters. And I've mentioned him a few times, I know, because he always comes up with these things about what he could have done and what he should have done, and almost like the world's waiting on his decision whether he'll fight again. Mate, you got embarrassed by Kell Brook. Before that, you got embarrassed by Terence Crawford. So let's just stay in your lane, as they say. So never been a big rap for Amir Khan. Always thought he was super talented, but nowhere near delivered his potential. And he talk when he speaks. I suppose this is the thing that irritates me a little bit with him. I have full respect for him and for what he's done and all the rest of it. I understand that. But he talks like he's in the same category or league as the Pacquiaos and Mayweathers and De La Hoyas and Canelos. That's the way he speaks about himself. Mate, you're not even, what does Larry Holmes say? You couldn't wear the jockstrap or whatever it is. That's what I think are Amir Khan. So either way, look, he did some good things in his career, but yeah, as I said, not a massive fan of Amir. And just be quiet, mate. You're not in Mayweather's or Pacquiao's class, and they certainly didn't avoid you because they thought you might beat them. But anyway, that's example number one. Second example today is the fights this weekend. Oh my God. Janibek Alimkhanuly has been ruled out of the fight with Lara. I did not want to wake up to that news this morning. I always sort of check my phone when I first wake up to see if anything's happened overnight. And when I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? The only fight on the card, in my opinion, that's really worth getting up and about for, and it's now off the card. Now, Lara has a replacement. There was talk, actually, that they'll try and rush through the B sample, which was never going to happen. I don't know the name. It starts with M, this apparently banned drug or whatever it might be. But to cut a long story short, Janibek Alimkhanuly has tested positive for performance enhancing drugs or vitamins or whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I don't care. And there was talk that they might test the B sample and try and clear him in time for the weekend. Well, it hasn't happened, and he's been replaced with 160 pound fight. I think his biggest win was at 154 pound though. I'm talking about a guy named Johan Hernandez, I think his name is. He had a win over former champion Jared Hurt in the last year or so. So he apparently was on standby, and they always do this, the big cards. You always find that they'll always have a contingency plan if one of the main fights goes down. Obviously it happened last year with Keith Thurman in his fight with Tim Tszyu when he had to pull out. Fundora just was elevated from the undercard, and it just had a ripple effect down the rest of the card. They sort of rematched a couple of fights and all good. So it's not uncommon. So I hope I've got his name right, by the way, but Johan Hernandez, I think his name is. He's been on standby. I'm not sure whether he had a fight on the card beforehand and they've just elevated him, or he was just simply told to be in shape, ready to go. But he will step in for Janibek Alimkhanuly, and I'm pissed. This is a fight that I've been really looking forward to for probably the last few months since it's been announced. I thought this is one of the big fights to look forward to towards the end of the year. I know it's not the main event on the card. I think it probably should have been, if I'm being honest, but I understand why. Neither one of them are probably big drawing fighters, so I get they put Cruz and Roach as the main event. But this card, which is apparently is $75 over there, I think it's nowhere near that amount here. I think it might only be like $40 here, but $75 over there. Would you be cancelling the card now? I don't know. If I was over there, I will still watch it. I don't care. I'll watch anything. But for those fight fans that are having to fork out $75 over there, which is over $100 Australian, that's a lot of money. Would you be doing it? But for me, that was the fight of the card. And I'm pissed at Janibek Alimkhanuly. I was pissed at him last time when he was going to fight Mikhailovic and pulled out before the weigh-in because of the weight issues. Sort of redeemed himself by what he did against Mikhailovic, and I've always been a bit of a fan of him since I've seen him live in Stockton when Jason Maloney fought Astrolabio. And again, I was really looking forward to this fight. and he's ruined my weekend, Janibek. So if you're watching Janibek, shame on you, you've ruined all our weekend. So I don't know what you guys think, whether you guys were looking forward to it, but I was. But at the end of the day, Lara, I'm glad they actually had someone for him to fight. There'd be nothing worse than doing a 10 or 12 week prep. And he hasn't fought for 15 months either, by the way. To do that long a prep, a camp, and then 4 days out to have the opponent fall over for whatever reason it might be. Illness, injury, testing positive to drugs, whatever it might be. But I'm glad that he's at least got an opponent. But how hard would it be for him? Now, it's not so hard for his opponent Hernandez, because he'd be sort of being mentally primed for fighting one of these guys off the road there, bud. So he'd just be preparing just with pretty much a clear mind. So he could just switch like that now and focus for 4 days on Lara and maybe make some adjustments for what he's going to do. But he, as I said, his mind would have been clear in the build-up. He would have just been keeping fit and getting ready to make weight, all that sort of stuff, and then he'll flick the switch if the opportunity came. Lara, on the other hand, has been preparing solely for Janibek Canuli. So physically he'll be okay, of course, he's in shape, but mentally it will be very, very hard for him to prepare, because, and this is why sometimes you see late replacements pull off massive upsets, is because the A side, I suppose, if you will, it just is not mentally ready for it. They've mentally prepared for the other opponent, and all of a sudden they have to switch, and it can be a massive deflating letdown for the A side, and can cause all sorts of dramas, which again is why we see a lot of upsets in this situation that we've seen in the past. So I still think Lara should get the job done. I remember Hernandez fighting Hurt, seeing clips of that back in the day, whenever it was, a year or two ago, whatever it was. Actually, it might have been early this year. I can't remember, but anyway, I remember sort of seeing the highlights of it. I didn't watch the actual fight, just the highlights, but I remember watching him, and from what I've seen, I think Lara should be far too polished. But we're also talking about a Lara who is now, was he 41, 42, I think he might actually be. And to try and mentally prepare for a fight on 4 days' notice against someone that he probably wouldn't know much about, it's going to be hard. I still think he'll get the chocolates, but not an ideal situation. Definitely not an ideal situation for the promoters, PBC. I just hate this when it occurs. It's just really a letdown for everyone, the fans, the promoters, his opponent, the people watching on pay-per-view. Just a massive letdown. So Canuli or Janibek has some making up to do, I can tell you, because who knows if we'll get this fight again. I don't know. Let's hope so, but Janibek's got to clear his name first, doesn't he? Which won't be easy. That'll take a while. So yeah, not happy with Janibek Canuli today. As I said, he's ruined my weekend. The rest of the card will go ahead as normal though, so don't worry about that. The only problem is, I wasn't that excited about any of the other fights on the card. I mean, Isaac Pitbull Cruz always comes to fight. I'm sure him and Roach will be semi-entertaining. Fulton and Foster should be an okay fight as well, but definitely not fights that really had my adrenaline sort of pumping like the Lara and Janibek fight was hoping to be. So anyway, that is example number 2. Example number 3 is Deontay Wilder. Not so bright. Well, his team's not so bright, because I did say yesterday or the day before that Alexander Usyk was now looking at Deontay Wilder as his next opponent. Now this is all sort of flies in the face of fighters actually deserving shots, and this is one thing that Usyk's always been good at, but I'll tell you what, he's definitely dropped the ball here. He's decided to give Deontay Wilder, who I think has won 2 fights in 6 years, and those 2 wins were against pretty horrific opposition, and he's been knocked out by Zhang, beaten easily by Parker. Of course, the Fury fight's thrown in there as well, which really looked like they did a number on him. And out of the blue, he's apparently being offered this fight with Usyk. Now, the reason why I say he's not so bright, or his team's not so bright, is that they've said, well, yeah, if the offer's right, we'll consider it. Are you kidding me? You are on the verge of being offered a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship for probably a $10 or $20 million payday at a stage in your career where most people know that you're shot and you do not deserve this opportunity, and you're going to think about it. you're going to think about it. Well, how about you go think about it? And in the meantime, Alexander Usyk should go and look at somebody else. I was staggered when I read that comment. And it wasn't just Wilder, it was his manager or promoter, whatever, Shirley Finkel. He said, yeah, the offer's right, we'll consider it. Well, okay. I'm sure you've got plenty of other massive world title opportunities being thrown at you, so you go and consider it. Just unbelievable that you would even contemplate it. Now, I know they've probably got to play the game publicly, but I wouldn't be surprised if Usyk says, yeah, well, all right, well, while you're thinking, I'll go get somebody else. Maybe revisit the Fabio Wardley fight or something like that. Just bizarre. But then again, Wilder's never been the brightest guy, has he? So that's example number 3. I'm just going to look for Neil here because he's in the bushes here. Somewhere. Where are you, buddy? Find him. Isn't there somewhere? Where is he? Oh, there he is, down here. Sorry, I've just lost track of him. There he is. Come here, man. Come here, buddy. Yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, just lost him in the bushes there. He's all good. Come here, man. We've got a lot of fans around here now. Just a lady that always says g'day. Just asked if he was okay. Yeah, so not so bright is Deontay Wilder and his team. So I'm sort of hoping that Usyk goes, yeah, well, you had your chance, buddy. Wouldn't you just drop everything and high five and do a bit of a jig if you were Deontay Wilder, if you got offered that fight? Just staggers me. Anyway, all right. And another bit of news that really made me do a double take is that, and just forgive me with this wind, by the way, guys. I'm sorry if it's been playing up at the microphone this whole video, but there's not much I can do about it. Katie Taylor may be fighting or going to fight Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, who hasn't fought for nearly 10 years and never in a boxing ring, may be coming back to fight the queen of female boxing, Katie Taylor. Now, my initial thought was, what? There's a few things that sort of come to mind with this potential fight. One is that, all right, Katie Taylor's probably earned the right to have this type of fight. Conor McGregor moved up. Well, Floyd Mayweather did this with Conor McGregor moving up. I suppose Tyson Fury did it with Francis Ngannou, which really almost blew up in his face. But I get it. It's done. Joshua's now doing it with Jake Paul. These sort of novelty fights, these cash-out type of fights. I sort of get it. But that was the first thing I thought as well. If anyone's earned this, Katie Taylor has. She's been an unbelievable advocate for not just female boxing, but boxing in general, and always been a fan of her, the way she carries herself inside and outside the ring. Come here, man. Let's get it here. People think we're filming their house. So good on her. Good on her if she's going to have a one final fight. It'll be probably her biggest payday of all of them, really, if you think about it. Come here, man. If you think about it, even bigger than the Serrano fights. So, and a massive fight for her. Probably, I don't know whether it'll be an island or whatever it might be. The next thing I thought was what is Ronda Rousey sort of thinking after 10 years out? I think she's had a couple of kids as well. Not that that would probably hold her back too much. But also, yeah, she hasn't fought for 10 years, but also when she last fought, her 2 losses have been to fighters that have been very, very good with their hands. And I think we've all sort of made a joke of it in the past about the way she carries herself in the boxing ring. Ronda Rousey, she always told us that she could probably beat a male boxer in the ring, and apparently her striking coach, whatever they call him, told her she was a great boxer, she could do anything in the sport, blah, 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 blah. So she obviously believed that, and then got absolutely towed up by Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, especially the Nunes fight. That was absolutely brutal, because it was all done with her hands. She did not throw a kick from memory, Amanda Nunes. She just went out there and just went bang, 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 and absolutely obliterated Ronda Rousey in, I think it was under a minute. Where Holly Holm sort of dissected her a little bit more with the usual kicks and all the rest of it. And then, I think she dissected her with punches and then knocked her out with a kick. So that's the other thing that comes to mind. You've got a MMA fighter who hasn't fought for 10 years, who, let's just say, isn't the most proficient fighter in the boxing arts, coming back to fight probably the greatest female fighter of all time. Great for the money side of things, but not so great, I think, for the well-being of Ronda. The only thing I will say in this fight is that Katie Taylor is not a big puncher. She's not a killer. She'll just outbox you, and just a very, very masterful type of boxer. Olympic gold medalist, multiple world champion, all that sort of stuff. But she's not a big puncher and not a killer. So maybe that's the only thing that might sort of go in favour of Ronda, that she doesn't like. She'll get sort of hurt. She'll just be outboxed. But it just came out of the blue, didn't it? But look, good on the girls if they make a big payday. I'm sort of thinking, even though Ronda has never really, well, since she left UFC, went into WWE and everything, she's never had the biggest fan base after her losses. Before she had the losses, she was massive. She was probably the most recognised and most popular, well-paid UFC fighter on the planet. That includes the men. But the way she handled herself with those 2 losses against Nunes and Holmes really put a lot of people off. And she's always battled to cope with that. She's done some podcasts that I've seen, or clips of podcasts that I've seen, where she's still very bitter at the UFC fraternity and the fans and all that sort of stuff. And you see the responses online, they all get stuck into her. So it's just, in one way, could be a little bit of, I won't say redemption, but maybe just something that she can maybe redeem herself, just even to herself, as far as whether she wins or loses. The odds are she'll lose, and probably lose big. But if she can go in there and give a good spirited performance and act like the well-spirited or good sport, or whatever you might want to call it, that she should have been in the 2 fights that she lost, and she can maybe hold her head up and maybe be a little bit more respectful, and maybe get the respect back of a lot of the fans that she lost in those 2 losses. So yeah, look, I'm not against it. A lot of people are sort of mocking it and laughing at it, and I get that, but I'm not too stressed. I think, as I said, Katie Taylor's more than earned this opportunity to do this type of thing. And Ronda Rousey is still a massive name in combat sports. It would be a massive, massive fight. They're talking about doing it on Netflix, by the way. So again, it'll be a free event, so there's no harm in it. And I think it'll be great for Katie Taylor. I think who deserves a massive payday to go out, because she's been such an ornament to the sport. And just one more thing before I go on female boxing. I saw the Devin Haney comment about Sky Nicholson. I won't go too much into that, but I was staggered that an elite world champion in Devin Haney, even if he thought that, would actually put it on social media. Apparently he has deleted the comment. Devin, not the greatest thing to do, mate. Whether you think it or not, I wouldn't have thought putting it on social media does a lot. And I think that's very, very unfair to Sky Nicholson. If you didn't see it, he said that she's the worst fighter he's ever seen, which is nowhere near the truth, because I think Sky Nicholson is a very, very talented young lady, very talented boxer, and I don't think she deserves that type of criticism, but Devin Haney did it. He has taken it down, so Devin Haney, just do better. You don't need to do that. As I said, even if you think it, you don't need to put it out there for everyone to see. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. So guys, that's going to do it for today. Hope you have an awesome Wednesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.